Hello YouTube, flashlight enthusiast here. It seems that weird-sized batteries flashlight won't leave us just yet. Recently, thanks to Neil's gadgets, I got my hands on the Mateminco MT-001 Mini, which is a smaller version of the MT-001 reviewed on this channel. Like the bigger brother, the mini version features a single weird-sized battery and single emitter optimized for throw. Interested? Let's find out! Both MT-001 and MT-001 Mini can be found on Neil's gadgets, and if you are interested, make sure to check out the link below this video. There is also a special coupon code for our community to save you some money. The flashlight is not the smallest, and so isn't the box. There are potential applications, picture of the flashlight, and basically what version you get. Inside the box you get a user manual, USB to USB-C charging cable in this cord-like material, this little one, product certification I guess, a bag with accessories, and 2 spare O-rings, and last but not least a shoulder strap, as the flashlight is not the smallest. Before operating, make sure to remove the dustproof cover from the lens, as well as unscrew the head to remove the insulation film from the battery compartment. And yes, as I mentioned, it's not a pocketable flashlight, however, thanks to the grooving on the battery tube, the balance is quite good, and I can hold it quite comfortably in my hand. The anodization is smooth and nicely polished, and no sharp edges can be detected here unless you take a look at the cooling fins. There is this rotating lanyard attachment that I personally definitely don't like. However, you also get it here, and you can screw it into the tripod mount here to have a shoulder strap mount. The tail cap is flat, so the flashlight can stand without any issues. And the click of the switch is quite distinct, and I like it a lot. Speaking of the switch, there is a little blue light underneath to let you know where the flashlight is in the dark, and on a side note, it can be turned off. At the business end, we've got a nice stainless steel bezel, quite deep, smooth reflector with SFT-90X LED down there, and there is purplish anti-reflective coating on the glass as well. Judging by its serial number, it seems that I have an early production version. If you want to access the batteries, I recommend unscrewing the tail cap rather than the head, as these threads are small, unanodized and poorly lubricated, creating good friction. From the head side there is a large single contact without any spring, however from the tail cap side there is this nice smooth feeling of well done threads. These have double O-rings surprisingly, but have same small cut triangle one, however they are nicely lubricated and anodized. And the thick spring on the tail cap looks quite good actually. What I'm not a big fan is this particular battery. While it features an impressive 15,000 mAh battery capacity, it is long and cannot fit any standard charger. And if you go for a camping and don't have the USB-C charging power source, you probably won't have the spare battery either to fuel your flashlight once this one is dead, which makes this flashlight a really poor choice if you don't have a stable charging output. Or a couple 33140 batteries I guess. Luckily, there is a USB-C charging port to fuel this gigantic battery. Once you plug it in, there is a red indicator underneath the switch indicating charging and the blue one when the charging has been finished. Surprisingly, they included a 4A charging port, so this battery can be actually charged in a little bit over 4 hours, which is not that bad. Again, a pleasant surprise is that during the charging you can actually use all the modes including the ramping and even turbo output, however it significantly increases the charging time, so bear this in mind. The UI is plain and simple, you've got one click for on, one click for off. When on, you hold the switch to ramp up and down the brightness. The blinks will indicate either one side or the other side of the ramp. There is always a double tap for turbo output, either from on or off, and triple click will go back into the strobe. A neat function is the voltage check when you 4-click the switch from off. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 3.9 volts. I wish it went a little bit faster though. There is also 5-click lockout mode. 5-click to unlock the flashlight again. And last but not least, you can click 6 times to make the switch blue light go off. Here are my lumen measurements for the Mateminco MT-001 Mini. As you can see, turbo output is a little bit below the manufacturer rates, however max ramp is above, so overall good performance. And when you look at the performance of the turbo output, everything seems to look good. We've got around 5000 lumens at start and around 3 minutes of stable performance before a quick step down over the course of 20 seconds around 1743 lumen level. However, flashlight body achieving only 41 degrees Celsius, which is definitely low. Then we've got an impressive flat output regulation finally, with flashlight being able to sustain around 1700 lumens with overall runtime of 4 hours and 4 minutes thanks to this gigantic battery. However, bear in mind that this flashlight can get hot afterwards. However, test of maximum ramp was true disappointment. I measured around 3420 lumens, and as you can see we've got only 26 seconds of performance before a step down, which is substantially shorter than a higher turbo output. Either something wrong with my sample or Mateminco just screwed up the whole performance of modes other than turbo. However, then as you can see we've got again 1700 lumens sustainable output for 4 hours and 8 minutes, which is by far quite impressive result still for a flashlight this size. For some reason Mateminco decided to set a really low thermal limit for this flashlight, which can actually hinder its performance in my view. And when the flashlight actually gets hot, you cannot reset the turbo output. There are just blinks. And yes, this flashlight can actually get hot, so beware of this and wear gloves. The beam pattern is actually quite nice from this smooth dip reflector and single SFT-90X LED. Opal measurements show around 6500K and 70 Serai, surprisingly. Who would expect that? What did surprise me, however, is the brightness of the spill from this LED. It is truly a good successor of the SBT-90 LED, with similar output and even better throw, as the footprint of the LED is much smaller. You still have a good terrain coverage, plenty of sidelight in front of you and on the sides. Overall, we have to remember that this is a big and chunky flashlight. However, thanks to that, it can sustain 1700 lumens for an impressive amount of time. The beam pattern from this SFT-90X is really magnificent and optimized for throw, however still provides a good amount of sidelight, thus not promoting a tunnel vision effect. We have to remember about quite average build quality of Mateminco flashlights. However, on the other hand, this time we get a constant current driver and flat output over time, which is always a plus. This time we get a solid performance with high battery capacity, however on the expense of charging and battery replacement in case anything happens. So as mentioned, I wouldn't recommend this flashlight for a couple of days outside of city unless you have a solid power bank or access to socket, or alternatively a couple of spare batteries. However, I doubt that, as this is quite specific battery size. So again, we get an interesting concept of the flashlight, however I'm pretty skeptical we should go this way in the future. Nevertheless, highly appreciate the effort. It is quite interesting flashlight to look at and test, so guys, let me know in the comment section down below what do you think about the new Mateminco MT-001 Mini. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to support the algorithm, not to miss in the future videos as they release. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.